I would like to briefly introduce our panelists. Most of you may not know since they are from the government. But at the same time, I'll just tell you what they have been doing and why they are here. Munish Maudgil, his IIS of 1998 batch, but his BTech from Electrical Engineering, IIT Bombay. He also did 5-year MTech courses, integrated course from IIT Bombay. He got the Distinguished Alumnus Award of IIT Bombay in 2022. He was head of state COVID war rooms since 2020. He worked as MD of Gulbarga Electricity Supply Company and Commissioner of Survey and Settlement. When he was the Commissioner of Survey and Settlement, he did a lot of good work for digitization of survey maps, which is a great source of illegal income for many of our surveyors and government officers. But he tried to bring in a lot of transparency and digitization of land records and related matters. He won the National E-Governance Award of 2020-21 for COVID war room work. So he has been a very distinguished officer of Government of Karnataka. And we have one more very unique officer of Karnataka government who is with us. That is Yashwant Gurkar. He is a younger officer, but he is from Nitke Suratkal and did his BTech there, MBA from IIM Bangalore. He has worked in Strand Genomics, Alshaya and Flipkart before joining the IAS, and also he was a very successful startup guy. He is the co-founder of iasbaba.com, and I think now he has exited from there because he has joined the IAS. So he will also be able to tell you about his experience and how startup guys can also be helped by the government. He is iasbaba.com, which coaches the students and aspirants of IAS, has produced nearly 2,000 successful candidates in the last 7 years. And as DC Kalburgi, he was responsible for converting over 280 Tandas, Lambani habitations to revenue villages and giving them about 27,000 house title deeds. And this act of his has entered the World Book of Records. So we have very outstanding officers of Government of Karnataka to speak to us on this issue of how IITs can help the governments in their technological needs. I will make some brief introductions and then later on they will speak. As you are all aware, based on the vision of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, the Government of India established 5 IITs starting with IIT Kharagpur. He had envisaged these institutes as the driving forces for industrial, scientific and technological growth. Though there are some criticism that IITs did remain as white elephants and producing graduates who would be exported to the best brain would go abroad. But now the things are changing. Many IITians have joined and working here. And fortunately, we have 23 IITs now in major cities. And these IITs are now very close to the society and people of India. One side we have IITs with best of the faculties and laboratory facilities, world-class laboratory facilities, as well as brilliant students, the best brains of India, doing undergraduate, post-graduation, as well as research. On the other side, we have the government, which has got the need for improving their governance, improve their technology, and they have to change immense problems in terms of, I'm sure you have all seen that, in terms of unplanned growth of cities, traffic problems, the social sector is ailing, our infrastructure is inadequate, and there are so many other issues in which government has not been able to meet the aspirations of the people of India. Therefore, there is a need for us to bring IITs and government together We have been talking about bringing institutes and IITs together, and it has been happening, and it has been successful to a great extent. However, being the government institutions, except for interacting with Government of India, IITs have not been successful, or they have not been doing their job when it comes to state governments. I'm sure you may say that state governments are not responding to us, but there is a need. And now that you are present in almost every major state of India, you should be able to develop a rapport with the bureaucracy as well as the leadership of each state and market your potential, how best you can help their technology needs. If India has to reach whatever we are talking of, Viksit India, Viksit Bharat, or what Nandan was telling, you cannot only do with industries. You also have to do your duties towards the state governments, because they are closer to the people. I'm sure you are all thinking about it, and just now Director of IIT was telling, the IIT Dharwad was telling, that he met the Tata Motors when they called him. I don't know how many times he has met the state government officers and tried to sell his potential for what, I don't think Dharwad director is Deshpande. I'm talking, Desai, sorry. I'm talking about, your experience of going and meeting the officers of Tata Motors. I don't know if you have been able to meet Chief Secretary of Government of Karnataka and tell them what IITs can do. You may have gone, okay, you can respond later. You may have gone there to sort out your infrastructure problems. I'm not talking of that. I'm talking of showcasing your potential. Maybe you are too new for that, but there are so many other old IITs. How IITs can come together, showcase your potential, and see how government can be benefited by that. So I have identified some broad areas in this direction for collaboration. Number one, we need policy support. Governments need policy support at policy level. That is research-based and data-driven policy support by IITs. Many times we don't get such support before formulating any new policy. There are many ad hoc policies, especially just before the elections. You know how governments announce the policy level programs, and many times either they fail or maybe after winning they forget them. But now people are very aware. They will demand what impact it will have on society, on development. All that, suppose you could give advice to the government, maybe the governments can listen to you and do their bit at the policy level. When you come to implementation level, the transfer and usage of state-of-the-art technologies, IT, AI, blockchain-based technologies are not touching, maybe at national level, thanks to Nandan Nilekani and his team and IITs, they are touching at the national level. Nandan also admitted in the morning that at the state level, he has not been able to do much, especially when it comes to land records. Fortunately, Munish has been working on that and discharging the maps of Karnataka and city of Bangalore. Maybe he can say something about that also if necessary, or you can discuss with him separately. And these things are, the modern technologies are required for sustainable development that we are talking about. Even G20 is talking about reaching SDP, Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, by 2030. So we need to work towards that. Without the government, I don't think we'll be able to reach the goals of SDG or GDP growth of Government of India as envisaged. The third area is the citizen and government interface level. There has been tremendous improvement in central government initiated initiatives of e-governance, starting with passport or railway tickets, or now the infrastructure DPI, fantastic. Of course, every individual is helped by that. But there are so many other initiatives or programs or schemes of government which are not really touching the people. And still people are being harassed because there is no faceless interaction, like in income tax. So how we can make governance, e-governance and any governance people-friendly, citizen-friendly. Now I come to the specifics, how we can collaborate. These are the broad areas, how we can collaborate. I call them 4 C's. One is, first C is communicate with each other. many of them have not been communicating, the governments and IITs I'm telling. There is a gap. There is some reluctance, maybe on part of the governments also. Why should you go and meet them? Maybe some ego problem. Or maybe they think that, oh, they are white elephants, they are Government of India creations, they are not very close to us. Either that, or from the other side also, there is no proactive role being played by IITs in identifying the problems, going and meeting the bureaucracy and see how best IITs can help. Next one is consultancy of projects, of government projects. Last month I had been to IIT Bombay, and I found that I was very happy. My own department, civil engineering department, had earned 78 crores in 1 year through consultancy. I just asked Professor Chowdhury, who is the head of the department, how much is from government in this? Because I was interested more in that. He says not more than 5%. So 95% of your consultancy income comes from the private industries. Good, that also contributes to the government for the national growth. But unfortunately, there is something is not right in this system. We have government institutes, but government consultancy projects are huge, and private people are getting, not that private people should not get, but the kind of consultancy and technological consultancy that you can give will be at a higher level and will be immensely benefited. Governments will be benefited if they can get consultancy service from IITs. For that, some discussion will have to happen. There are some areas where government has to go by floating of tenders. This Transparency Act, we cannot entrust directly any research projects unless it is less than 10 lakh, which may not be of any use. But if any technology is very unique, if something is very special and nobody else has thought of it, it can be directly entrusted even if the amount is in crores. So you will have to really identify the areas where you can help the government. So for that you would identify people's problems, people and government interface problems. So you'll have to think of it. Third one is capacity building. Just now we are hearing how industries will be benefited by placing their people there and faculty being placed in the industries. There's very good understanding there. But unfortunately, not many government officers are deputed, and there are not many government training programs designed by IITs or requested by governments to design those projects, design those courses and bring them into action. Now, third one is, in this, I would suggest maybe the 6 months internship that you're talking can be implemented even for government departments or organizations. There are many government public sector undertakings, departments, which need the fresh brain, youngsters to come and do projects for them. So you can send your students, at least I'm sure with the changing socio-economic background of IIT students, many of them may be from rural areas. Those who are interested in doing government projects, see that they are placed there. And even UG students, PG students and research scholars can be requested to do the projects in the government-related areas. So third one is the committee of experts in the government. Unfortunately, we have many experts committees and task forces, but not many IIT faculty are there. Sometimes, yes, IITians are there on their individual capacity, but not, of course, it's the fault of the government. Therefore, there is a need to bridge this gap, and maybe from the government side also they will have to take the initiative and see that IIT faculties are appointed on the committees, expert committees of the government. And similarly, you will have to tell them where you can send your faculty to advise the government. On these issues, we need to discuss further, and after this, we can share the ideas, and then there will be time for questions also. Now I request Manish to share his thought on this, how IITs can come closer to the governments. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. It's a privilege to be here present today, and my senior and guide in Baliga sir, my friend Yashwant, all the distinguished participants, colleagues and seniors. Sir has actually touched most of the points which I would like to mention, but obviously I was in IIT and then now part of the government. There are few things I want to share with you when it comes to government. Why should there be any collaboration, let us say, between IITs or the government itself? Sir has, in fact, mentioned all the points. What I would like to mention to you is, in a lighter vein, government is a necessary evil. Many of the people would like to wish away the government, but practically speaking, government absolutely plays a very critical, crucial role. I may be wrong, I am making a sweeping statement. Maybe true till recently. Microsoft makes maximum money in India from the government. So what I mean to say is the collaboration of technologists, IITs with the government is absolutely beneficial to the government. But I'll try to share some numbers with you to make you understand how much mindlessly large amount the government spends on technology, IT solutions, and still what we have generally in India is a lack of satisfaction of the deliveries we are able to achieve. So what I find is that we spend a huge amount of money. I was just checking on the Google right now because I came here and I'm certainly called upon, so I didn't really prepare. It's more like extempore I'm talking. $100 billion is the money government is spending on smart cities. And all of that money virtually is going to do concrete works. I keep on asking within the government, what do you mean by smart city? A road cannot make a city smart, a traditional road, etc. A smart city, in fact, most of the people, I am letting out an inside secret, most of the people inside the government who are dealing with smart city cannot tell me what do they mean by smart city. I'm not exaggerating. As a layman, I felt a smart city is something which is defined by the citizen who responds to it like a mobile responds to him. Which means the government or a city administration, which is at your beck and call in terms of like WhatsApp is, you are able to interface with the government in a seamless manner, all that jargon. But most of the projects getting implemented in smart cities, many of them are at the end of their execution. $100 billion have been or are being spent. However, we don't have a transformative effect reaching the citizen. So intent of the government is not lacking. The money is not lacking. However, the impact is not there. So what sir said, what we find, in that, at the time of planning, at the time of creating the solutions, where the government intends to transform the way people interface with the government, technology obviously plays a huge role. But that kind of designing itself isn't really happening. So in that, as sir said, at the time of creation of the policy itself, even at the time of implementation, we need a lot of hand holding within the government. We are like kind of illiterate people trying to implement very, very, evolved pieces of literature. So what tends to happen is we grope around. IITs definitely, I can give you one more example. Smart city is not an exception of the money governments spend on making IT and smart solutions. We have a particular program in the Power Ministry called RAP-DRP, Restructured Accelerated Power Reform Project, etc. It is $10 billion only and only for IT. So what is happening is, if IITs and others, technology people, actually, what sir gave an example, out of 71 crore or earned in consultancy, only 5% came from the government. Perhaps the 60-70% should have come from the government because given the amount of money we spend. I have done some IT related work within the government. There's a huge lack of capacity within the government to create the solutions. You can't even have a conversation inside the government on technological solutions to the real life problems. For example, when I raise this question, IIT, I can give you positive examples also. IIT Kanpur worked with e-governance department recently and created, in a way, blockchain solutions for the registration. Also, they were creating the face recognition solutions for the registration of properties. So some work is happening. But what happens is that when I ask inside the government, even my knowledge is extremely outdated, but when we ask inside the government, why do you need blockchain for land records, people are not able to answer or understand even the conversation. So what tends to happen is that randomly people are coming, they are proposing solutions. Within the government, it's like if I use that word, we are dumb people who are being given very hi-fi tech IT solutions. They sound all very fancy. We start chasing them. At the end of it, many of it does not work. And the reason is that we are not able to differentiate between good, bad and ugly in that sense. We are not able to differentiate what can and cannot be done. We don't have institutionalized mechanisms of evaluating multiple offers or options which are available to the government in an institutionalized manner. There is either too much rushing into technology by the government or departments, or there is a phobia. You don't touch it, something will go wrong. So the reality is somewhere in between the two. So what I feel is that IIT's collaboration, as sir said, at the policy level, creating a committee of experts who can actually sit and in an independent manner evaluate the solutions which people are offering. I was in electricity supply company managing director. There is a policy you may not know in the government, and I believe that policy has to go further. Up to 10 lakh rupees, you don't need any tender you can award, any pre-qualification, I'm sorry. The problem with the government is if you are trying to sell any solution to the government, you already should have delivered that solution. But most of the IT solutions, particularly the startups who are capable of delivering solutions, they would not have had experience of creating the solution. One of the examples I am told, Moderna, who created the vaccine, had a turnover of literally Indian 10 crore rupees. When $1.5 billion check was written to Moderna to develop and deliver COVID vaccine. I'm really, ours are kind of bureaucratic systems. I cannot imagine such a thing happening in India for the right cause. For the wrong cause, governments keep on writing a lot of checks. But for the right cause where, something, so what can happen is, if we have people from IIT or distinguished technological experts who institutionally can certify, yes, this is a good project or this is a good solution, and government can pitch in the money for that, we'll end up picking a lot of Bill Gates who will deliver solutions to us. We'll end up picking a lot of people who otherwise are struggling in a startup because we are spending a lot of money. I was recently doing drone-based survey inside the government. We were trying to fly drone on every inch of Karnataka. Again, the same irony or the contradiction. The only people who will qualify are only the traditional people. So one startup fellow came to me. He said, sir, we have done 20,000 square kilometers in India with Survey of India. We are successful in flying, but we are not qualified because we don't have 100 crore turnover. So what we did, I said, okay, we will have a tender which will say, if you have turnover, you are qualified because you have the pedigree and the credentials. But if you deliver a solution, or if you have delivered the solution which works for me, then also you qualify. I was in electricity supply company. Something similar I drafted in the tender, which is People by their pedigree, by their credentials will qualify, and people who will create a solution which I will evaluate as meeting my requirement, I will qualify. So what I mean to say is IIT and government collaboration can actually create an institutional mechanism where a large number of technological solutions, government is in a position to pick them, evaluate them, learn, and actually even give a consultation. Giving to the IITs is a very relatively easy thing. Even a bigger projects which we believe can be created can actually start happening. I can give one or two examples. Center for Alternate Technology, Center for Technology Alternative for Rural Areas, TARA, is one of the agencies in IIT Bombay. I got some students from them, and I can tell you they were fabulous. Working within my system, within NREGA, the rural development, they created fabulous results. I got one third-year student sometime for giving just for the summer training, and he was fabulous because he could evaluate a lot of things. So there's a lot requirement within the government of institutionally evaluating things, institutionally creating policies which allow the right people to be picked and the wrong people to be left out, so that we can actually spend our money well. And there is a lot of requirement in terms of awarding the contracts, if I use that word, to new people who can actually deliver, but we cannot evaluate that they are in a position to deliver and capable of delivering. And this all can lead to win-win for everybody. Perhaps IITs will become a conduit. Even this alumni center, I have been talking with Shri Anant Kumar, that Anant Narayan, that this center can become a platform wherein this kind of a discussion, where the government can actually find mechanisms to benefit from the knowledge and expertise of IITs and technological experts. It will be a really good way forward. Any specific questions, once Yashwant has said, I'll be happy to answer. And thank you very much.
Good afternoon, one and all. Baligar sir, Munish sir, and I thank Anandji for inviting me here. It's an absolute privilege to be here. So, sir has also already laid down the macro things, at macro level what can be done. So, I'll be very specific. It's actually Center for Smart Governance. So, what was Center for Smart Governance made for? It was made as an in-house development team, software development team. So that the government does not need to go to a vendor. I have around 340 engineers working with me, and we are creating solutions like the Kaveri 2, which is the registration software. You don't need to go to the sub-registrar office, stand there for a day. You can enter all the documents at the place and then just go there to validate the KYC. So coming from this background, what challenges I am facing and how IIT can help. And see, three major things in government. One is there is no validation, Munish sir also had said, for some of the solutions so most of the solutions government gets is vendor driven. So somebody will come and say, look here, I have this database, Postgres, I have an enterprise version of it, why don't you use it? And I go back to my database guy who is not up to the mark, and it mostly, how good the interpersonal skills are, the vendor sells his product, right? So in Kaveri 2 months back, we were hitting 100% utilization, our servers were clogged. We had been 1 year into development, and suddenly, we get cold calls from everywhere, firefight is on, how do I do it? So I'm from Surathkal, I got my classmates, I called them for a lunch, and started from the architecture. 1 year what all development we have done. So they figured out, in half an hour they figured out that the microservices which my database was calling was too high, that was the reason. And we should put all the logic in the API. Now if there was an IIT guy in Center for Smart Governance, Computer Science BTech from IIT Bombay, probably this would not have happened. Right? So, what are the constraints from my side? My salaries are not the best what Flipkart offers. Like Flipkart senior engineer, 60-70 lakh plus, 1 crore plus. Smart Governance is offering 30 lakh. I'm open. I'm also pitching. I'm using it as I'm open to hiring 20-25 engineers from IIT also, right? At the good space scale. But look here, you have immense opportunity at working at a field level problems, right? There's a lot of satisfaction. I was a senior manager, AVP in Flipkart, and the big billion day, I was on spot. Like, the numbers were going up. Like one you will see in the petrol bunk, the petrol numbers going up. So you'll see in crores, hundreds of crores. Puneet Soni and Sachin and Bini were there. But what has been the transition? I was deputy Commissioner Kalburgi. I used to go morning in the pensions, 50% coverage was there. And had to take very aggressive steps to solve it. Now pension coverage is around 98%. So the satisfaction of working in government is immense, but there's a trade-off there. You have to compromise on your salaries, on XYZ, but 2 years in government sector will give you a world view that you go into a startup world, you will go do much better than. When I was in IIM, there were fresh IIT graduates coming into IIM. They used to prepare wonderful PPTs, create billion-dollar business ideas, which are very good, which consultants can sell it, but it will not translate to action because they lack the worldly knowledge. Working in a government sector would probably fine-tune it, would do it better. So there are a lot of opportunities. The source of truth. What is the source of truth for me in government? It's my same old project directors who try to monopolize. If I go and tell them, Karnataka has a very beautiful system like Kutumba, which has the database of all the families, similar to Aadhaar. Now, can't I do a one card, one number like Aadhaar, linking all the government scheme beneficiaries to it? So I can ask a question. Hey, can you tell me in this area how many people are drawing pension? How many people are drawing LPG cylinders? What is the intersection? But I don't have the brain power in government who can pull up all this data for me. The political class is very much interested. As sir put it rightly, there is a lack of marketability. There is a lack among the IITs. I think IITs are blue-eyed placement. People come to you, so you don't see the need to it. Who comes to smart governance? People who don't get placed in colleges, who tend to influence through somebody. Why don't you take him up? But I think as smart governance, we are opening up as part of Brand Bangalore. Next week, next couple of days, there will be a big program. We are trying to tap into the middle-aged IITians who have a midlife crisis, who want to come 1 year, 2 year, work in government sector, contribute to government sector, help us improve. No, you can say, proudly say, look there, the registration certificate. Now I'll tell you, we are doing a marriage certificate registration online. If people are getting married, they can enter the details there, they can give the thumb there. Their marriage certificate will be generated there in 5 minutes. And they can download it. Previous to it, the experience would be my own wife, she had been twice to sub-registrar's office. Only after knowing the designation, she did not, there was no, there was no need for her to grease anyone's palms. Otherwise, it would not happen without greasing anyone's palms in a sub-registrar's office. So you can work on this cutting-edge technology like that. We have done software for all the universities and colleges. Every university and college used to have their own software for admission, exam and all. They used to spend 350 crores. We have provided a solution in 12 crores. We are saving every year 330 crores for the students. They're this thing. Now we are doing something, we are doing an integrated mining software. Anywhere, any mining license violation, any sand is pulled, goes without the knowledge of this thing, automatically notices are generated from here. We are completely digitizing the APMC markets. We are putting up their, what are the rates of the different products online. We are, any vehicle which enters an APMC market, it's being captured. So we are working on very fine, cutting edge, solving real-time government problems, but I don't have enough people. So one is like if IIT offers me a consultancy, I can sign in tomorrow. I don't want to go to my vendors, my people, my in-house experts who are 20 years behind, who have created their own monopolies, right? We have a state data center. If I ask them a couple of questions, they're not able to answer it. Why doesn't the professor in IIT come and work with us? I mean, we can pay half the consultancy fees with Reliance Space, right? So there are multiple opportunities like that, and there are, fortunately, in Karnataka government, there are there's stalwarts like Baligar sir, Munish sir, who can pitch into the right person and get. So if you've not met the CS, you can, anybody can walk and go and meet the CS madam. See what happens in government, 99% interactions I do is of firefighting or junk value. So the 1% which can do the 90% change misses out. So if somebody is coming and saying, look here, I'll give a blockchain method of for the land record, so that exactly I know that with whom all the land has been, so that I can just plug and play. Tomorrow I can go do the registration. I don't need to hire a lawyer who will do the background check of the land, who needs to come out whether it has passed multiple people, whether the documents we have is a right one or is it a forged one. So all this I can do, but I can get you to the CM or to the deputy CM, but there should be an end-to-end hand-holding, a comprehensive solution. It can't be just no firing in the open this thing that look, there is no, or just saying there is an opportunity. If you come up with solution, say this is going to cost you 30 crores, this is going to be the revenue, why don't you buy in this 6 months is going to be the solution which I'll provide, you're more than welcome. Kaveri 2 is going to generate around 30,000 crore revenue for the state. You know how much I'm spending? Any guesses? What would have Infosys bid for the same project? Any guesses? 1% of the project of the revenue for a year, 200 crores. Center for Smart Governance is doing in 10 crores. But I'm ready to spend another 10 crores if the solution is very good. I don't have a first-hand product. So this is where we would require your help, and we're very happy to open up, and some of us are the decision makers. If a professor comes and tells me that I'm going to take care of your data solution, like the 5 guarantees which the government gave, our servers used to hang because all of the data was in server data in the state data center. We didn't know how to put it on the cloud, right? How to access it. This is a big opportunity. The whole 5 schemes is around 56,000 crore per year. So 0.1% of that I would have spent it on IT solution. So please, so my request is like, I've just limited my focus to the IT sector, but as sir has said, I see multiple opportunities. We have dams. People don't know how much to release water at what time. They don't have an inflow prediction. They don't have an outflow prediction. We use the rule curve. Some of you are civil engineers here, which is an historical data of 30 years. The dam engineer only looks at the dam safety. There's a rainfall prediction 10 days down the line. 50, 100 TMC is going to come to your dam. The dam engineer says, I don't care, I have dam full. When 100 TMC comes, he releases the water, 100 villages are flooded. Right? This is how we are working. Right? So my earnest request is, see, government is never a challenge. Government is a very low-hanging fruit. In fact, when private sector is, full of talent, there's no bureaucracy. You want something, you want a cloud, you can see over the phone, you'll say, yes, if I want a cloud solution here, I have to write to my seniors up, that has to go to FD. Other challenges are there. But it's a wonderful field where a lot of satisfaction is there. I would like to pitch it from that angle. You're contributing to the society. Come work with us, right? Center for Smart Governance is completely open. If 10 of the IIT engineers come tomorrow, or if IIT Dharwad says, you take 30 students of me, I don't want 6 months or 3 months internship. 3 months internship, we'll teach them the technology, they'll run away. Give me interns in second year. I will make them work on Kaveri 2. Give me interns for let them have work for 3 years. I mean, as one of the subject, as one of the curriculum requirements, they need to work 3 years in the industry. TI used to, I mean, in my engineering days, NITK, TI used to work with us. They used to take interns in second year. So if you give me interns for 3 years, something who can work on us, we're glad to do that. And consultancy, we are very open. I mean, e-governance needs talent, and it needs IITians like you. And as sir mentioned, there's a lot to do, and we can go on to and there's no other place right now to be except to be in India for the opportunities. Everywhere I see there's an opportunity. Every new IPO, the small scale, the SME index has doubled in last 6 months. If some of you are following the share stock market,
You have to show him
that
1
amount
minute
of
again, yeah.
enthusiasm no other country has, right?
show him.
So thank you.
I'd like to make one very quick remark that there are possibilities of the IITs doing short courses under the continuing education CEP program or whatever you call it. IIT Bombay was doing this sort of a thing for cyber security and related subjects for the police, Bombay police, year after year after year, and it was very, very successful, and police officers from all over the country were coming there. So you identify the areas, we will arrange that similar programs for you. So I think we can discuss that over lunch. So.
In fact,
Yes, sir, thank you.
yeah, let me ask one. So, Maudgil ji mentioned about smart cities. I am, for the benefit of all, I am Professor Venkappaya R. Desai, Director IIT Dharwad. So, I start with a small suggestion. See, in our country, two major standardization. The first one is PIN code, 6-digit PIN code. The second one was 2-letter state abbreviation code. When we say this one, I request each one of you to follow that, and instead of simply writing GOK, you please write GO capital K capital A, because that is a 2-letter abbreviation which is given for all vehicles in Karnataka. Because GOK can be Kerala also. So we need to show that that kind of coordination among this one. Just a suggestion for you kindly to convey this one. And you mentioned about the smart cities. The number of smart cities in our country is close to 200. Please correct me if I am this one. And the number of smart cities which are flood proof and drought proof is a big zero. Yeah, just I think. Okay. Just about 2 minutes actually. I'll take that. Yeah, okay. Just I'm sharing our own success story. So the thing is, in IIT Dharwad, we are procuring certain self scanners, and then in the concrete, whether it is a road slab or the stormwater drain slab, we are going to, using the scanner, we are going to find where there are no reinforced bars. So there we are going to use a circular saw.
Are you going?
We are going to make.
No,
we are going to do this.
Collaboration.
Yeah, definitely. We are willing to
Please do that. Good.
So that is basically linking surface water, that is bhujal, with groundwater, that is antarjal. And unfortunately, kya ho raha hai, dushta jal, that is wastewater, is getting linked with surface water. That should be avoided. And then secondly, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just as one, and I will share one success story in IIT Kharagpur.
No. Success stories we don't want.
Yeah.
We'd like to know about future. How
Yeah,
we can
sure.
collaborate. You wanted to say something?
Yeah.
Just we'll wind up. I think we're already running short of time.
I understand. Just quickly.
We're supposed to close at 1:15. It's already 1:35. 20 minutes late.
Yeah.
We'll have to cut short into the lunch time.
Yeah, I just wanted
Last one.
I just wanted to make the point that yes, definitely we would like to work very closely with the government.
Good, very
I'm from IIT Tirupati.
IIT Tirupati is very close to Karnataka also.
Correct.
We have
So
many
I'm
options.
just going to pitch the thing that we are starting. We have a masters in we have a public policy program.
Thank you.
And we have tied up with CRISP, led by
Great.
10 IAS
Please
officers.
meet our chief secretary. She's a wonderful woman.
Yeah.
Very positive.
So-
I'm sure we can
So
carry
we are
forward.
going to be running a policy program for deputy collector level and people above.
Great.
Along with the CRISP group. And that whole team is coming and spending 3-4 days at IIT
Very
Tirupati. So we are looking forward, but there are a number of other things I'll talk to you about over lunch.
Good. Thank you very much. Ashok, you'd like to say something? Announce. Thank you. We'll go for lunch.
Just 1 minute, professor of practice.
I will tell you, Maligar, this was an excellent.